This group are doing 0 to 9 numbers on the body. If you want to see this practical task, then you can look back at the creating choreography. Michelle and Richard are going to create a sequence of movement in relation to the wall. They can touch the wall, but they're in relationship to the wall. There's something else on the other side of the wall, somebody else on the other side of the wall. 3 people are now going to do another generating task. I've called this positives and negatives. And what it is a task in saying what you could never say to another person. 2 of them are going to have the task of making that positive, those things that you feel you can't say to other people that are positive. And 1 of them is going to have the task in the negative.
I can't stand the way you stand, just the way you hold yourself. It's that arrogance, you know? Confidence without just cause. I never use the word hate, and you are the only thing in my life that makes me reevaluate that decision. Even the way you look at me makes me feel like nothing, like a piece of chewing gum on the bottom of your ugly, big-ass size 10s. Get a grip. Honestly, just take a look in the mirror and ask yourself, is this who I want to be? Because it takes energy to be a bad person. It takes energy, and how dare you use your life up in that pursuit? Next. My instinct is that just we're more likely to say nice things about people. So we don't feel like kept up emotion. But when you give us the opportunity to just go be negative, it's like, whoa, okay, I can really say things now.
Imagine saying the nice things that you would never say. And there's a lot of nice things I think I probably would say, but an awful lot of bad things I would never say. They come to mind a lot easier, you know.
The positive things that you can't say makes you very vulnerable. It opens you way out. I think that's what it is. It's like going, I can't say this because I'm embarrassed or I'm shy or I fear rejection or whatever those things are. So I think that's in there as well. We don't want to.
Sure. So it's just interesting what you have to push through when you are writing and how brave you have to be even when it's fiction is interesting, or how brave you dare to be, and if you can't, then taking a chance to talk about that and why, and like having a conversation like this automatically makes me feel more comfortable about what I'm about to share. Your talent and the light you bring into a room is electrifying. When you are speaking, I can't take my eyes off you. It feels as if I'm looking directly into your soul. You make the best chocolate chip cookies I have ever eaten in my life. I can't tell you this because too many other people could get hurt. You make me feel safe enough to express the parts of myself I hate the most.
Oh, God. That was awesome. That was amazing.
It's like an in-joke. It's like a little thing that you and this imaginary other person have a relationship over the time that you made the cookies and you thought they were amazing, or the Coke. There's a thing that happens and nobody else understands what that moment is from the inside. Because they don't understand it, it makes those two people really close, rather than it just being a general sort of, you're really lovely and I like you, and those specific things are what actually really, that go unexplained, are really interesting, aren't they?
It tells you something about the nature of that person and something, and whether that's something that we put on it, our own relationship to Diet Coke and chocolate chip cookies, but we immediately kind of hook on to that as something that we can relate to in some way.
Your face makes me want to cry. You don't like your hands, but they look like they've been carved from obsidian by a master craftsman. I can't breathe around you. Do you know God? Because I can see that essence in your eyes. You make me feel like I can say anything.
It's interesting because it's like you can't breathe, but this person makes you feel like you could say anything, but you need to be able to breathe to say anything. And so it's like this, there's a real tension between what they're making you actually feel.
There's some of them that could be easily turned into a negative one. Mm-hmm. Like your face makes me want to cry. or I can't breathe when I'm next to you. Mm-hmm. Or seeing you makes me want to say, you make me feel like I can say anything to you. Yeah. Even those ones.
What we're going to do is remember your 8 wall interactions and your 0 to 9s, and after lunch we're just going to spend a little bit of time working with
these movements, some of this text, and just seeing how we can marry them together, if that's possible, what the benefit of movement is with this kind of fragmented text.
Maggie and Felipe have been asked to bring their sequence away from the wall. So they've got their numbers on the body and they had their fixed point on the wall. And what they've done is they're pulling away from the wall, and we're going to see what happens when we start to layer some text on top of that.
You make the best chocolate chip cookies I have ever had in my whole life. But I can't tell you that because too many other people could get hurt.
I can't stand the way you stand. You know, it's just that arrogance. You know, confidence without just cause. Oh, man. God, I hate the way you stand. Even just looking at you makes me so angry. You know, it takes energy to be a bad person. And how dare you use up your life in that pursuit? Even the way you look at me just makes me feel like nothing. You know, like a piece of chewing gum stuck on the end of your shoe. Your big, ugly size 9s.
The way that you were moving before had, it was still slightly staccato, like between movements, but even more so when Felipe was the only one speaking. So like definitely we saw that knee being like accentuated a lot, even in your expression. It felt like whoever you were in that situation was definitely hearing what Felipe was saying.
When you speak, it's like I can see into your soul. You make the best chocolate chip cookies I have ever eaten in my entire life. But I can't tell you this because too many other people might get hurt. When you speak, it's like I can see into your soul. You make the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever eaten in my life. But I can't tell you that because too many other people might get hurt. You make me feel safe. Your talent and your light, when you enter a room, it's electrifying. When you speak, it's as if I can see into your soul. You make the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had in my entire life. But I can't tell you that because too many other people might get hurt.
So we've looked at speech and movement and experimented with 2 people speaking and moving, with 2 people moving and 1 person speaking, with 1 person speaking and the other person moving, with 1 person speaking and that same person moving. And it's really good to interrogate, you know, where does the movement add benefit? Where does the movement complement the text? Where does the text complement the movement? And when is it too much? When do you need to strip back?